Our collective salutations to the Almighty. Revered elders, devotees from around the world, staff and students, a very good morning and a warm welcome to day 90 of One World, One Family World Cultural Festival. For the past 90 days, the world has come alive right here in front of our very eyes. From the vibrant rhythms of Europe to the soulful traditions of the Middle East and the timeless heritage of South Asia. 90 nations, 90 breathtaking cultural performances, and countless spiritual leaders have united here on one grand stage to celebrate humanity. As we continue to celebrate oneness of humanity, today we are delighted to celebrate the Federal Republic of Nigeria. From the bustling markets of Lagos and the ancient walls of Kano to every region of Nigeria tells a story of strength and spirit. It is the land that gave world Afrobeats through legends like Fela Kuti and Burna Boy, literary brilliance through Chinua Achebe and Olo Soyinka, and unmatched sporting talent being seen on the global stage. Nigeria's vibrant festivals such as Durbar of the North and Calabar Carnival celebrate the nation's artistic and spiritual spirit. Today, as we celebrate the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we not honor the country by the spirit of resilience and creativity. As part of Universal Wisdom for our United World Lecture Series, we are honored to welcome Sister Sylvia Blanchard, a Roman Catholic nun for the member of the Little Sisters of the Poor. A British missionary and humanitarian, Sister Sylvia has dedicated over 4.5 decades in serving humanity across 5 nations. As the head of the Little Sisters of the Poor mission in Enugu, she leads an interfaith elder care home where Christians, Muslims, and elder traditional faith live together in dignity and peace. Her work transcends borders, languages, and beliefs, guided by an unshakable conviction that every human being, regardless of caste, creed, and gender, is sacred and equal in the eyes of God. Brothers and sisters, please put your hands together in welcoming Sister Sylvia Blanchard.
So I just want to offer my thanks to Sadhguru for inviting us to talk to you today, obviously, anyway. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. It is with deep gratitude that I stand before you today. I come not with great words, but with a simple heart full of joy that has been shaped by service and by the gift of seeing humanity in its many colors and expressions. I thank you again for this opportunity to speak to your hearts. First of all, we talk about oneness as a way of life. To me, oneness is not just a philosophy we speak. It is a way of life that we must live. Across continents and cultures, I have witnessed the same truth. Beyond our race, religion, caste, or creed, we are all children of the one divine. When we recognize this, we stop seeing the world as divided and begin to see it as one family. When we say one family, we are saying no child should go hungry, no elder should be cast aside, and no person should feel unwanted. Thus we declare that every life matters and every person is connected. My own journey goes from the Congo to Kenya, from France to Nigeria, from Malta to Turkey. Obviously, they haven't said England, but I do come from the British Isles. And now again in Nigeria. And this has shown me that love knows no borders. In every land, even though I am often a foreigner, I have been welcomed as a sister. These small experiences have convinced me that the heart has no boundaries. It only knows how to give and receive love. So we talk about the efforts in our congregation. At the Little Sisters of the Home in Enugu, Nigeria, We care for the elderly poor. We have 50 residents at the moment. Some are Christians from various groups, while others adhere to traditional beliefs. As far as possible, we try to help each resident deepen their own spiritual path by finding pastors that can assist them. In our part of Nigeria, the Muslims are few and far between, so rarely part of our family. However, in different homes, we welcome them equally. We try to give them the possibility to worship in special prayer rooms. When the elderly come to us, they are never labeled or separated. Each one is embraced with equal love and dignity. We wish that together we form a single family. Doctors, caregivers, and volunteers of all faiths work side by side, serving not through words, but through action. This is what One World, One Family looks like in practice. What we do in our little home of 50 residents and an extra 30 families who come regularly for food is but a drop in the ocean compared to the great inspiration of Sathya Sai Grama in Muddenahalli, where the One World, One Family mission guided is bringing together people of all nations in the spirit of selfless love and service. It's true that here thousands are cared for, educated, and healed without distinction. And the message is always the same. It is lived that the world should be and is one family. We also have the joy to be quite close in Enugu to Joy Village, now which under Sadhguru's guidance is doing more than charity. It is weaving a new fabric of hope by providing children with free cost of education, mentoring with human values, and holistic care. They offer free health care to reduce challenges, displacement, and social breakdown. Joy Village provides not just relief, but dignity, care, and a sense of belonging. So this ripple effect is already visible. Children who would have dropped out are now in school. Parents breathe again with relief. And communities come together in mutual support. This is not just a service, it is a transformation of individuals, of homes, of entire neighborhoods. Joy Village is showing what it means when the heart says, you belong, you are family. I'll talk a little about inner transformation. There was a time many years ago when I believed service simply meant helping people, but life taught me something much more profound. My transformation began long before I stepped on Nigerian soil. It began when I was a young woman in England, studying medieval history and the writings of the early fathers of the church, where my heart quietly shifted from Anglicanism to Catholicism. That journey brought me closer to Christ, but it was really my own mother who was cared continually for the elderly with tenderness and who planted in me the seed of compassion. This led me to know and love the life of Saint Jeanne d'Arc, who was the foundress of the Little Sisters of the Poor. She has been credited as a beacon to guide our societies towards a renewed love for those in old age. Pope Benedict recalled how she lived the mystery of love in a way that remains ever timely, while so many elderly people are suffering from numerous forms of poverty and solitude, being sometimes completely abandoned by their families. She was born in 1792 and grew up in France during the political and religious upheavals of the French Revolution. Working hard after her father disappeared at sea, she finally worked not only in a hospital at Saint-Servant, but also as a servant for 12 years. And it was only finally in 1839, a year of economic hardship in Saint-Servant, she found an elderly woman, Anne Chauvin, blind, partially paralyzed, and without help. And she took her on her shoulders, gave her her own bed, and thus started the miracle of the Little Sisters. Although she was forced out of her leadership of the congregation, she continued to serve as a simple sister, often collecting but also helping with the new foundations, and passing 27 years in silence and prayer. At her death in 1879, there were already 2,000 Little Sisters working in 100 homes across 3 continents. And the year after her death, the congregation arrived in Calcutta, India, so 1880. So it was in this really following her profound spiritual example that I joined the Little Sisters of the Poor. Here, God sent me on a pilgrimage of the human soul across countries, across continents, including England, France, Congo, Brazzaville, Kenya, Malta, Turkey, and Nigeria. And Nigeria for a second time of 15 years. I've been here since 2010. In each of these lands, I felt people of different cultures, languages, and faiths. They taught me more than any sermon ever could. And that spirituality is not just believing in God alone, but seeing God in every person. In Africa, I held the hands of Muslim leaders, elders, who never imagined a sister could pray with them like a daughter. In Turkey, Christian and Muslim elders live together, and staff and volunteers cook and care for all under one roof. In Malta, I learned the beauty of a faith that was truly lived to the full, primarily through quiet charity to others and in silent prayer, where love spoke more eloquently than words. The more I served, the more the Lord called me to change. The boundaries of mine and yours dissolved. Every culture became my own, every elder became family, every face reflected the divine. When people ask me, how have I lived 46 years in mission country without losing heart, I tell them something simple: because love does not wear a flag, and the poor are to be found in every race and in every faith. We see in their eyes the Lord. That is when I understood that my most profound conversion was in seeing that true spirituality is loving without judgment. True religion is serving in humility without discrimination. And this is why I stand before you today, because my life has taught me the same lesson that Sathya Sai Grama embodies, that there is really only one thing that counts, and that is love with a capital L, which encompasses all, making us one family, the human family. Now, may I speak a little about Igbo land? That's southeast Nigeria, which I do know the best. In Igbo culture, traditional respect for older people and the importance of community were once cornerstones of society. Still, these values are facing challenges in contemporary times due to modernization and migration. While elders were traditionally highly revered and consulted for wisdom and guidance, a shift towards westernized lifestyles and urban migration has led to a decline in the cohesive family and village structures that supported this system. Yesterday, in the traditional Igbo society, elders were pillars of wisdom. The elders, both men and women, were deeply respected and held positions of authority and influence. And then there were age grades. The defined age groups played vital social roles, including security, sanitation, and administration. The strong family and community ties were prevalent and characterized by shared responsibilities and a strong sense of belonging within the villages. The respect of ancestors was extremely strong, The ancestral veneration was a key aspect of Igbo spirituality, and those who lived virtuous lives were believed to join the ancestral clan and cult. The Igbo language was the primary means of communication and transmission of cultural values and knowledge. Now we go to today, the contemporary Igbo society. There has been a certain erosion of traditional values. Modernization, urbanization, and exposure to Western cultures have led to a decline in traditional practices and beliefs. The younger generations have migrated to urban centers in search of education and economic opportunities, which they haven't always had. They're creating a gap in the traditional family and village structure. Older people now face challenges such as loneliness, neglect, and potential financial hardship as family structures weaken. Even the Igbo language and traditional culture practices are facing extinction as younger generations embrace English and westernized lifestyles. Despite the challenges, many Igbo families still strive to uphold traditional values and provide care for the elderly. And there is a growing recognition of the need to adapt traditional practices to the realities of modern life. Find ways to support older people in contemporary settings. So in essence, while traditional Igbo society placed a high premium on the wisdom and guidance of elderly, contemporary changes have presented significant challenges to the well-being and social standing of older people. Research from academic journals suggests that adapting traditional approaches to care for older people in modern circumstances are crucial for preserving cultural heritage and ensuring the well-being of all generations. So before I close, I feel deeply inspired to speak about Nigeria, this blessed land that has welcomed me and a lot of other missionaries so warmly. Nigeria is not only rich in minerals and wealth of the soil, Nigeria is rich in heart. Here people care. Even in the poorest villages, someone will say, "You are welcome, come and eat." This spirit of hospitality, compassion, and togetherness is Nigeria's greatest gift to the world. Nigeria has a rare power. They embrace diversity, they forgive quickly, they smile even in hardship, and they try to bring everybody into their family. This is Nigeria's strength. It is the foundation for the future where service, unity, and love can flourish. So why is everyone in this hall gifted? Because each one of you has been chosen, not by chance, but by grace. If you are sitting here, it means you have a heart that can feel the suffering of others. You have eyes that can see beyond religion, tribe, or nationality. You have hands that can serve. You have a voice that can inspire, and you have the capacity to transform lives. We often think that only leaders change the world. It's not true. Nations are healed by ordinary people doing extraordinary acts of love. So what is everybody's contribution? Not all of us can build hospitals, and not all of us can run orphanages. Not all of us can donate millions, but everyone can do something. A visit to someone lonely, a plate of food to someone hungry, a smile to give someone hope, a word of encouragement, a gesture of kindness, a heart that includes, not excludes. Love does not need a diploma. Service does not need permission. Compassion does not need language. And if each person in this hall offered even a small act of love, Nigeria and the whole world would rise, not by force, but by compassion. It would become a nation where no elderly person dies alone, where no child would feel forgotten, and no human being would feel unloved. This is the Nigeria I hope for and believe in. This is the Nigeria Sadhguru's mission believes in. And this is the Nigeria all of you have the power to build. Because one world, one family is not just a message we listen to, it is a life we choose to live. So just for the end, oneness does not mean that we erase our differences. It means we celebrate them while recognizing the unity that binds us all. In reverence to Sadhguru's vision, I believe that each act of love, whether in a global mission or in a humble home for the elderly, becomes a building block for a world of peace and harmony. My prayer is that all of us carry forward this message. Let no one feel like an outsider. Let every heart know it belongs. This is the essence of one world, one family. And may the mission of Sadhguru inspire each of us to act, to serve, to heal. Thank you. And may peace be with you all.
We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Sister Sylvia Blacha for sharing her wisdom of how each one of us are children of God, and the best way to practice is by following the principles of one world, one family. We now invite Dr. K.P. Sai Leela, Trustee Prashanti Balamandira Trust, to extend our token of gratitude to Sister Sylvia Blacha. We will now have a short break and then reconvene for the next session.
Gajanana, 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 Prathama Pujana Ganaraya, Prathama Pujana Ganaraya, प्रथम प्रार्थना श्री गणराया प्रथम प्रार्थना श्री गणराया लंबोदरा गणराया लंबोदरा गजानना गजानना प्रथम पूजन गणराया गजानना गजानना प्रथम प्रार्थना श्री गणराया लंबोदरा गणराया लंबोदरा गजानना गजानना ॐ जगज्जननी साई माता ॐ जगज्जननी साई माता ॐ जगज्जननी साई माता ॐ जगज्जननी साई माता ओंकार रूपिणी साई माता रूपिणी साई माता ओंकार रूपिणी साई माता रूपिणी साई माता ओम जगज्जननी साई माता ओम जगज्जननी साई माता अभय प्रदायिनी साई माता साई माता अभय प्रदायिनी साई माता अभय प्रदायिनी साई माता साई माता साई माता साई माता साई माता सत्य साई माता साई माता सत्य साई माता अनाथ रक्षकी 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 साई माता जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा 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 दया सागरा साई देवा दया सागरा साई देवा दया सागरा साई देवा दया सागरा साई देवा जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा वीर जयना क्षीराब्धि शयना वीर जयना क्षीराब्धि शयना वीर जयना क्षीराब्धि शयना वीर जयना क्षीराब्धि शयना नीलमेघ श्यामा नीलमेघ श्यामा नीलमेघ श्यामा नीलमेघ श्यामा समगान प्रिय सर्वधर्म प्रिय सत्य साई महादेवा 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 जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा दया सागरा साई देवा दया सागरा साई देवा जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा जय जय वीर जनयना क्षीराब्धि शयना वीर जनयना क्षीराब्धि शयना नीलमेघ श्यामा नीलमेघ श्यामा समगान प्रिय सर्वधर्म प्रिय सत्य साई महादेवा 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 जय जय देवा जगदीश देवा पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा दया करो हरिनारायणा दया करो हरिनारायणा भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना शरणागत त्राण नारायण शरणागत त्राण नारायण दया करो हरिनारायणा दया करो हरिनारायणा श्री साई नारायणा साई श्री साई नारायणा पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा दया करो हरिनारायणा श्री साई नारायणा साई श्री साई नारायणा भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना शरणागत त्राण नारायणा दया करो हरिनारायणा श्री साई नारायणा साई श्री साई नारायणा पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा
भज रे जानकी जीवन रामं भज रे जानकी जीवन रामं भज रे श्रीराम रामेति रामं साई रामं भज रे रामचरण सततं भज रे रामचरण भज रे रामचरण सततं भज रे रामचरण भज रे जानकी जीवन राम 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 भज रे भज रे रामं भद्राचल रामं भज रे राम भद्राचल राम भज रे पावन तारक नामं भज रे पावन तारक नामं भज रे तारक नामं भज रे पावन तारक नामं भज रे श्री राम रामेति रामं भज रे श्री राम रामेति रामं भज रे साई राम रामेति भज रे रामचरण सततं भज रे रामचरण भज रे भज रे जानकी जीवन राम भज रे जानकी जीवन राम भज रे राम भद्राचल राम भज रे भद्राचल राम भज रे पावन तारक नाम भज रे भज रे श्री राम रामेति रामं भज रे श्री राम रामेति रामं भज रे साई राम रामेति रामं भज रे साई राम रामेति रामं भज रे रामचरण सततं भज रे रामचरण
प्रातस्मरणं श्रीगुरुचरणम् प्रातस्मरणं श्रीगुरुचरणम् साईश चरणं श्री गुरुचरणं साईश चरणं श्री गुरुचरणं प्रातस्मरणं श्री गुरुचरणं ब्रह्मानन्द प्रदायक चरणं ब्रह्मानन्द प्रदायक चरणं शरणं शरणं साईश चरणं हे शरणं शरणं साईश चरणं प्रातस्मरणं श्री गुरुचरणं साईश चरणं श्री गुरुचरणं प्रातस्मरणं श्री गुरुचरणं ब्रह्मानन्द प्रदायक चरणं ब्रह्मानन्द प्रदायक चरणं शरणं शरणं साईश चरणं शरणं शरणं साईश चरणं प्रातस्मरणं श्री गुरुचरणं
Offering our collective salutations to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, elders, devotees from around the world, staff and students, Sai Ram and a very good morning. At the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, education is not merely the acquisition of knowledge, but translates to wisdom through a holistic process that refines the head, heart and hands of every learner. With this vision, Sadhguru conceptualized a unique training initiative for all those in teaching and leadership roles at various campuses. This second edition of Guru Vikas aimed to transform educators into torchbearers of values-based education. The 61-day training program offered a comprehensive and immersive curriculum encompassing innovative teaching methodologies, interactive pedagogical strategies, digital learning integration, philosophical and psychological foundations of education, classroom management practices, and professional ethics. Guided by a team of dedicated and experienced educators, 57 participants, boys and girls, have successfully completed this program. As we read out the names, we request them to receive their certificates from Sadhguru. We will begin with the boys. Akshay Kumar Ghorpade, Anil Kumar, Babu V, Bhanu Prakash, Bhupendra Sahu, Chetan SB, Prashank KV, Lohit DK, Lohit Kale, Mahesh Kumar, AC Manjunath, Manu MC, Mohan Kumar KM, Konaru Murli Krishna, Omkar Sai, Pramod AS, Pratap Baliyar Singh, R. Sai Kishore, Rajesh Menon, S. Sai Kaushal, Shiv Kumar Khobri, Sidram Nagur, Sri Ranga HV, Vidya Sagar, Vishwanath Verma, and Sai Giridhar Nayak. Moving on to the girls, Amruta Are, Amruta S, Apurva MR, Avula Shravanti, GN Bhuvana, Chaya S, Dornala Swati, Divyashri GM, M.K. Geetanjali, Hema H.S., Jayashri V, Korapati Chandana, Kaligotla Lalita Manasa, Karnatakam Gayatri, Kavya GK, Lisa Boy, Nandini SM, Navyashri MK, Rakshita BS, Ramya Krishna J, Rani M, Reshma Kundar, Sai Mahima, Sanjana BS, Shilpa Shankar Mogar, Suma MS, Varsha Verma, Veena Annappa Nayak, and Vidya Annappa Nayak. We congratulate the faculty and participants for the successful completion of the second edition of Guru Vikas. We now invite all the participants to join for a group photograph with Sadhguru, first with the boys. Yesterday, Sadhguru began his discourse by explaining that the relationship between a teacher and a student is a partnership, and only when both come together can knowledge be experienced by the student. The 21st shloka of chapter 18 goes, Nirvasano niralambaha swachchando mukta bandhanaha kshiptaha samskaravatena cheshtate shushkaparnavat. Sage Ashtavakra says, the desireless, self-reliant and free-willed one, though liberated from all bondages, moves as if tossed by the winds of past impressions like a dry leaf. Sadhguru explained that such jnanis act effortlessly with the understanding that actions happen through them and not by them. He concluded by stating that spirituality is for the most courageous, for it is indeed the greatest adventure of life. With a guru to guide us, we must take this journey seriously, making the most of the sacred opportunity by walking the path with sincerity, faith, and effort. We now pray to Sadhguru to continue with the teachings of chapter 18 of the Ashtavakra Gita.
Sahana bhavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sah viryan karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The one single quality of a Brahmagyani is desirelessness. That itself is good enough to define who a knowledgeable person is. Only an ignorant person keeps having desires because he cannot see the truth from the untruth. He cannot see the reality from the falsehood. He cannot see the temporary from the permanent. So he goes on chasing one desire after the other. And that is the idea of avidya, karma, and the karma prabhava. Though avidya, kama, and karma, these are the reasons why he gets bound. It's like you bind yourself in this snare of ignorance, and that leading to wrong desire, that leading to wrong action and wrong reactions, and further it binds you into that ignorance. The more you try to deal with it, the more it binds you, like quicksand. When you have this loose earth or quicksand, the more you put efforts to try to come out of it, the more it sucks you in. That is the idea. When you are behaving as per ignorance of your self being the body or the mind, then whatever desires of the body and mind arise from that ignorance, you go on chasing them and create more actions and more reactions. So our Sanatana Dharma is very clear. There are two major laws that govern Sanatana Dharma. The first is that of law of action. Whatever actions you do in this world, it will have a reaction. And that is the law of physics as well. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Some actions have immediate reactions, some have a little delayed or little more delayed reactions. For example, when you do something like you hit the table hits you back. That's the typical example they give you when you are reading the Newton's laws, that reaction and action laws. So the intensity and the force with which you hit the table also hits you back. The table has no hands and legs. In the sense, it does not have limbs. But the force, it comes back to you in the same way. So this is an immediate reaction to the action. That's settled there. The scores are settled. But there are certain actions which have delayed long-term reactions. Like you do good today. You may not immediately receive the rewards of it. It may come back to you much, much later in your life. Or you do some bad today. It may not have immediate reaction. But at some point of time, it will come back to you as a reaction. You plant a seed today. You get a fruit after several years, not immediately. Like that, many actions have delayed reactions, but does not mean that the reactions won't happen or they have disappeared. Many fools think that I have done something now and I will have no reaction whatsoever. I somehow have managed to escape it. But they are only fooling themselves. It will have a reaction at some point in time. And that reaction will bind them. So till the reaction happens, the person is not freed from the bondage of action and reaction. Now what is the way out? And as I say, that this reaction and reaction will lead to further lives. In India, where several of the Eastern religious philosophies, we believe there are reincarnations. Like Hinduism believes in that, Jainism, Buddhism believes in that. Many other tribal, including the many indigenous cultures, believe in that. That we continue to keep coming back in different forms at different times. And whatever we do in the past, that is the reason why we are born again in different ways. So we have to be careful about what actions we undertake. But that action is motivated by a desire somewhere. Without desire, there is no action. And that desire, is it arising out of ignorance or wisdom, is the key. If it is arising of the ignorance that you are just the body, this world is all that is, and you must make the most of it here and now, then you are going to be bound. But if you realize that you are more than this body and mind, and whatever actions you undertake may come back as reactions to you, not just now, but maybe after several lifetimes. You do not know. That is why you are very careful. So wisdom, a man of wisdom, first of all, is very choosy in terms of what he wants to do or what he does not want to do. He is very careful with that. Secondly, the greatest idea that Ashtavakra teaches is that a person who is truly wise has no doership at all and no enjoyership. But he is still engaged in actions in the world. Apparently he is involved and he is creating actions and reactions. So logically he should be bound. He should be more bound than anybody else. But he is not bound, Ashtavakra says. This is an exception to action and reaction law. What is this exception? He never feels the doership of it because he does not do out of any desire to do. I want to build hospitals is a good desire, but that also will bind you at the end. I want to earn a lot of wealth. That is maybe another desire. That will also bind you. Or some evil ideas. I want to kill people and loot their wealth, or whichever you want to do, wrong things, tempted by the senses and the mind. All these can lead you to reactions. But this Jnani lives in such a way that despite he acting in the world, the actions don't bind him. What a wonderful exception. Nobody can escape action and reaction. It is given. It is a law. You can't break that law. That is how the universe works. But the only escape from this is if you attain jnana. The other escape is what? Don't do any actions. But our Ashtavakra will tell you in the coming shlokas, even those who think they are not acting, they are acting. They are involved in action. Why? Because their eyes opening and closing also is an action. Because they are the doers of it. They believe that they are the doers of it. And the moment you feel that you are the doer of anything, the action binds you. And that is the reason why, even though apparently the Ajnanis, the fools may run away from action thinking that is the best way to escape the reaction. But their very existence is an action that binds them. Whereas a man of wisdom, even though he is super busy doing things in the world, does not rest even for a moment, yet such a person has no binding of actions. So in the coming shlokas, we are going to see this, and this is extremely important. Why? Because all of us have to involve in some action or the other. As I said, if you just sit in your room, close the door, and meet nobody, talk to no one, even then you are bound by action of simply living a life of ignorance, bound by the very idea that you are body and mind. That itself is an action. Example, when you are breathing now, none of us are putting any efforts to breathe. So that breath is not an action right now for us, which binds us. But the moment I say, now we will do pranayama, let us hold our breath, let us slowly breathe out, slowly breathe in, now that has become an action. Till it was happening effortlessly without your knowledge, without your involvement or doership, breathing is not an action at all. It is a natural process which sustains the body. That doesn't bind you. That does not make you a slave to the reactions. But the moment you now make breathing a part of a process which you want to control, by breathing in, breathing out, holding the breath, meditation, pranayama, the moment you do that, what is happening? You have made breathing into an action that you are now going to be bound to. Think of thinking now. Without putting efforts if you are thinking an inspired thought that comes to you. It's not an action that binds you. It's an inspired thought. It comes from elsewhere. You just follow the thought which is inspired. But now you say, I will tell you, now think about an essay on this mission. Now once you say, I am going to think about what this mission is all about, and then I am going to write, now your thinking has become an action. Till it was spontaneously flowing, what a wonderful mission, nice things are happening, there was no action in that thinking. Till you were just going and doing whatever you needed to do as a part of your daily chores, your dharma, there was no action. The moment you say, I am doing it, I am going to do it, and because of me this is happening, you are bound. So there is a very subtle difference between who gets bound and who is free, despite performing actions. Breathing by itself is free of action. You are not bound by it. But doing pranayama is also breathing, but now it is contaminated with the idea that I am going to be doing it. Now there is effort, there is a reaction, there is an outcome, an expectation, and now all that binds us. Whereas just breathing about doing as you go about breathing, though no action at all. So this is the idea. Thinking which is inspired, comes from the source, is not binding you anymore. Whether the thinking leads you to building a hospital or running a business or doing anything else, it is not going to bind you. But the moment you think, I am going to think, I am going to plan, I am going to build, I am going to execute, I am going to see to that it runs, I am going to see, the moment that I am going to do comes, immediately you are bound. So what is the difference between Jnani and Agyani? Jnanis are also living in this world with performing all the kinds of actions that are needed to be performed. Agyanis are also performing the same kind of actions. But for Jnani, it is spontaneous, effortless and inspired. Whereas for Agyani, it is an effort, it's a burden with, strewn with doership and enjoyership. And that Jnani, that fool cannot get out of it because he's so very possessed by this idea of doing and enjoying. This does not occur to the Jnani. So this is the beauty of Ashtavakra, because he says, don't run away from actions, not required. Do your dharma, do your duty, whatever is coming your way, execute it as it is needed. But don't be bound by it, by considering yourself as the doer or enjoyer of it. Then my body is engaged, my mind, yes, you have engaged your body and mind, but do not associate with it, is what he's saying. Some beautiful examples will come in the shloka, and it's quite a good shlokas coming up which will help us to sort of rethink about how we are performing actions in this world and what is the reason for our bondage or liberation. 18.20, I don't know which shloka, 25 is, no? Last we saw was 18.23, so now it is 18.24. That is on page number 164. What else is the quality of the Jnani? We had met the Jnani in the previous shlokas with certain qualities. Like he does not have any desires whatsoever, nor this idea of accepting or rejecting. He is Atma Ramasya Dhirasa. He is established in that joyful self. And Sheetalachatra Manaha. He is full of peace and tranquility and serenity, even though he is bound. So now in this shloka, more qualities of the Jnani come out. It says, Prakritya shunya chittasya kurvatosya yadachaya prakritasyeva dhirasya na mano navamanatha. For this person, this wise one, whose mind is empty, prakritya shunya chittasya. Shunya chitta means in his mind there are no thoughts. It's an empty slate. It's an empty space. There is no object, there is no idea, there are no desires, there is no emotion. Nothing. It's just blank. His mind is absolutely zero. Absolutely empty. When does this happen to us? Only in deep sleep it happens to us, when our mind is totally empty. Even in the dream state, we have some thoughts running subconsciously, which create a new world within ourselves, which we enjoy or suffer through the night. But in deep sleep, we have no mind. Likewise, imagine if you're awake and yet you have no thoughts in your mind. But it's not that you're not conscious of your being alive or awake. You're very much conscious that you are alive and you're awake and you're seeing everything around, experiencing everything, but there are no thoughts in your head. It's absolutely zero state. This is the mind of a Jnani. And Prakritya, by nature, he is like that. Not by some effort, okay, I'll do meditation now, and now that's how I'll empty my head of all the thoughts, and now I'll become established in the thoughtlessness of the mind. No efforts. By nature, he becomes like that. His mind is already empty. Kurvato asya yadrichaya. And even if appears that he is doing things in the world, how does he do it? Yadrichaya. As it comes to him, not by his desire, As it comes to him, spontaneously he does it. There is no thinking in that. It just happens to that jnani, and through that jnani. Now what else happens? Prakritasya dhirasya. So such a person who seems like an ordinary mortal appears to be one, because jnanis don't have wings or a halo or anything extra. They also are just like us, moving around. All these depictions of jnanis in portraits with aura around them and wings and halos are all our imagination, just to differentiate them in the picture from others. But the jnanis also are like regular people only. They don't have extra pairs of hands or legs or eyes or ears and all that. But what they don't have thoughts. We all are full of thoughts, but they are empty-minded. And prakritasya dhirasya, for this discriminating one, the wise one, who is naturally wise, there is no mano na avamanata. There is no praise, no blame, no praise or insult. Avamanata means no insult also. If he does something, if it works out well, people are naturally going to praise. He does not accept that praise belonging to him. That's also happened because of the divine will, whatever has happened. I'm merely an instrument, or I am just incidental to the action. I am not the reason for the action. So he will not accept the praise for all the good that happens. At the same time, he will also not accept the blame for things which don't go right. Now our problem is when the good things happen through us, when people come and praise, elsewhere people would jump to take the credit. Yes, I have done it and give me the credit, because that is how they survive. Unless you fight for your credits, nobody is going to hand it over to you. In a dog-eat-dog world, you have to fight for your place and your credits. In ashram, it is just the opposite. When people say, oh, you've done such a good work, no, please, I have not done that. They are over humble. They reject it. They say, no, it's all God who has done, Swami who has done, they mean it. I'm not saying they're faking it. They mean it. But something goes wrong and does not go the way it should be. Outside, what happens? They immediately find a scapegoat. The weakest, poorest, youngest employee of the institution, who can be happily made a scapegoat, and all the blame can be dumped on him, and he cannot even talk back, because if he talks back, he'll get into worse situations. That is how the world works. He'll get into more and more trouble. And when good things happen, people take the credit for it. Bad things happen, they dump it on somebody who is vulnerable, weak and voiceless and helpless and young and powerless. That's what happens. In our ashram, it's the other way around. Anything good happens, oh, Swami has done it. They try to find somebody to give the credit. Not because of my team, because of these youngsters, because of all this. The moment something goes wrong, we are sad. I put Swami's name down. I'm no good. I'm useless. I shouldn't have been here in the first place. I have damaged the institute's image. So much guilt they go through. In the outside world, what will happen? The moment something is going wrong, they're very smart. They'll quickly search for somebody and put it on their head. I have worked in the world. I worked in the banking and private banking industry. It's very, very competitive. Those who are from banking, especially investment and private banking, they know. Every minute counts. Every minute you make money for somebody. And something goes right, everybody praises you. How did you do it? They'll take you to foreign tours, give you so many rewards, recognition, certificates, because you had made money for the bank. You got a new big client and gave a lot of money, and then bank made profits. Now markets turn upside down. Everything that was looking so hunky-dory turns into a nightmare, because you never know where the markets are going. Who controls these markets? Who knows? If anybody says, I know the markets, they are the biggest fools on earth, according to me. Nobody knows, because somebody is controlling this market. There are very powerful people. They know how to move this market whichever direction they want. And these youngsters, they think, I know, I've got a nice tip from a broking firm which knows the market and which tells me how to make money. All those are planned algorithms. You are just a scapegoat. You are only a guinea pig. They will move them according to their wish. They'll send you buy to a million people this side. They'll send a tip of sell to another million on the other side, and keep paying the seesaw. One day you'll make money, one day they'll make money. One day you'll make money, one day they'll make money. At the end, when both of you got totally involved and you invested more than your might, nobody will make money. That person who's sitting behind the scenes and controlling this whole thing makes the money. This is how it works. And don't fool yourselves that you know it. Nobody knows it. Where everything is going, nobody knows it. So what do we do? This agyan is, when you work in a volatile environment like this, you are risking everything. Because good things happen, they'll praise you. Bad things go, something go wrong. Every client who was still yesterday adoring you, admiring you for your skills, suddenly turns blame. How could you not know that markets were going to crash tomorrow morning? How did you not redeem my portfolio? How could you not take actions at the right time? They will blame you for anything. There is nothing that you can do. When the money was made in the market, it was not because of you. Some foreign funds pumped in a lot of billions of dollars into the market, and as the market started flying, next day all of them decided together, party is over, let's take our money back. Overnight they vanish, and all the markets crash, and then our investment. I have seen in 2008 during subprime crisis how many brokers committed suicide, How many of them? They just committed suicide because they had so much money put out there in the market, and market's having a dream run. When I joined the bank in 2003, the markets were 5,000, Sensex was 5,000. By the time I finished my banking tenure, that was 2008, early, Sensex was 21,000. Everybody made money in that period of 7-8 years. How much money? 3 times, 4 times. Nowhere in the world. So everybody is happy. You are a magician. I give you 100 rupees, you give me 300 rupees. We are wonderful. We are all having dream right. Suddenly one day subprime crisis hits the US markets. The interest rates start going up. Money starts flowing back into the US market. All the money that was lying in Indian markets. Overnight markets crash 3,000 points, 4,000 points, 10,000 points. And the Sensex falls from 21,000 to 9,000. And all the money that these investors had made in the 5 years just vanishes and more goes away. And all of them are saying, this was my retirement money, this I planned for my daughter's wedding, that was for my son's education, this was for my repayment of housing loan, that was my all life saving. Now where do I go? And they start looking at you for answers. Brokers have no answers, they just commit suicide. How many people committed suicide in that 2008-2009 crisis? Fortunately, I didn't have to commit suicide, but then I quit the banking saying, this is not what I want to do in my life. And then, as if everything is forgotten, again people come back, and then they again start fishing for stocks in the market, and today Sensex is, I don't know where is 80,000 plus. Now people will blame those who ran away from the market when it crashed to 9,000. They blame, why did you not come and advise us? Now it is 80,000. We could have made so much money in the next 20 years. Who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. But blame and praise happen as a part of life. When things go right, people will praise you. You feel good. When things go wrong, people will blame you. But though you say that both were not my doing, I just put your money in the market went up, you made the money, you praised me. Thank you very much. Market went down, you put the money, market went down, you lost the money. Why are you blaming me? They say, no, we praised you, so we'll also blame you. How does the Jnani work? No praise, no blame. No rewards, no injuries or insults. He doesn't accept both because he says it is not because of me. It's very clear in his mind. On the outside, yes, people will blame you for the wrong that happens. People will praise you for the right that you do. But you don't get affected inside. That is the whole idea of Jnani. So Jnani also exists in the world, goes through what he has to go through, but deep inside he remains unaffected. Unaffected. There's a beautiful story from Tiruvalluvar's life. Tiruvalluvar is a great Tamil poet sage. And he wrote Tirukkural, 1,000 verses or something like that like Kabir Das ji of North, who had this Kabir's Dohas. Like that, Tirukkural has its own Tamil version of things, very deep philosophy. And he was also a weaver, by the way, just like Kabir Das. And in his, he was weaver, so he used to weave saris. So once he was weaving the sari, but then, some notorious youngsters were around, they wanted to trouble him. Those who laughed at the wise men and jeered at them and teased them and mocked them, those kind of, everywhere such people exist. In those times also, in his village. So they came. One fellow came and asked, how much is this sari that you have weaved? He said, it's 2 rupees. He said, okay. He took the sari, tore it into 2 halves and says, now how much is this sari, this half? Anybody else would have told, how dare you tear the sari, how can you? But he knew these people have come to trouble me. I will get troubled only if I wish to get troubled. If I don't want to get troubled, how can anybody trouble me? So he remained calm. He said, now it is 1 rupee because it is half of the sari. They tore it again and said, now tell me how much is this? He said, now it is half a rupee because it's quarter of the sari. They tore it further. Now how much? Then he said, now it is quarter of a rupee. Now how much it is? So like that they keep shredding the sari and things like that. Finally he says, it's free, take it. You don't need to pay for it because it's of no use to me. Those youngsters who are troubling him, they are surprised. How come he didn't lose his temper? How come he did not lose his calm and cool and balance? We tore his sari and shredded it into pieces. And he's still smiling and saying, now it has become free. Earlier you had to at least pay 1 rupee for half the sari. Now it has become free, you can take the whole thing. That is the idea. These jnanis won't accept the insult or the praise. Why do we feel insulted? Why do we feel hurt? Because we accepted that insult. Somebody says, you are a fool. We agreed that we are a fool, therefore we are fighting. Or we don't agree that we are fools, that's why we are fighting. Why the fight happens? Because we have an ego which does not allow us to let go of things. It says, how dare you say such things to me? Let me teach you a lesson. Because we identify the other person as another being who is trying to harm us or insult us and things like that. Similarly, somebody praises us. There are a lot of yes men that exist in the world. You become friends with them. Why? Because they are making you feel good. What is in you that is feeling good? Your ego is feeling good. What is in you that is feeling bad? Your ego is feeling bad. Both are egos only, whether it is good or bad, isn't it? How can it be anything else? Self has no modifications. Self has no distortions. In all situations it remains the same. So what is changing in you? What is that which makes you feel good or bad? It's your ego. It's the identity with this body and the mind, which is falsehood, which according to our scriptures is not real. You are the self. So these people go through these motions of life every day. Good days, good mornings, bad mornings, good afternoons and bad afternoons, good nights and bad nights. This is the way of their life. But jnanis don't get affected. Why? Because they don't accept it. Once I was very hurt because some initial days, when I used to go around doing all this thing, Bhagavan would send me here, there. And one of them wrote to me that they'll file a case, a legal case against me for doing this, going about telling that Bhagavan is giving me some message to be conveyed. Because they were stockbrokers in Mumbai. And you know how stockbrokers are. Plus, if you are a Mumbai stockbroker, you are extremely greedy, selfish, aggressive, and deceptive, name it all. But you are a devotee of Baba somehow. Why? Because your grandparents were devotees, something. Now these people's house I went and I told them what had to be told. The father was upset that his business was not running too well because we were just coming out of 2008, 2009, the subprime crisis. This is 2011. So it was not far from the last damage in the market. So people had not yet got confidence in the market. They were not investing. So broking firms have, money is made only when they sell and buy things. And nobody is selling and buying anymore. If people are coming, they are coming for long-term investment, putting the money and forget it because you are getting Sensex at 9,000, 10,000. It's a great opportunity. It was undervalued. So this broking house or this family was always in this business for last 25, 30 years. So they are called because they wanted guidance. They found out somehow that I am somebody who can talk to Baba or Baba talks to me whichever way. So they reached out to me saying, please come to our house, we need some guidance because their business was in doldrums. And Bhagavan sent me, so I went there. And they asked for advice, and Bhagavan gave only one advice, spiritual advice. Why will he tell you where the markets are going to go in next 10 years? So they were expecting such answers. Bhagavan said, sell this business, simplify your life. Enough you have run, now you are 70 years old, 75 years old. How much pressure do you want to take? Give it over to your sons and be free. This was the advice Bhagavan gave. Because how much more do you want to run behind this? Whatever is there, come to a valuation, sell it off or distribute it off and you become free is what he advised. But that advice was not what they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear that how in the next 10 years they can recover all the losses and become larger than what they are and how they can become richer. That advice was not given. Anyway, they followed some part of the advice, they did not follow some part of the advice. Whatever part they followed did not work out. Now they called up saying, Swamiji told that these things we should sell off. We sold. Suddenly the investments have gone up now. We have made so much of loss. You need to compensate for that. I said, why should I compensate? Am I your advisor, investment advisor? No, you came and gave all this. I told, but you believed it is Bhagavan who told you all this, right? That's why you called me. Then file a case on Bhagavan. Why are you bothering me? No, but you are the one who told. How do we? I said, this is very bad. When the good things happen, you praise Bhagavan. When things go wrong, you are catching my collar. How is it fair to me? So I came back to Bhagavan and said, what kind of devotees have you gathered? And why are you sending me to such people's homes? knowing fully well that they're not going to follow the advice. And if the advice goes wrong in some way, they're going to catch my collar and trouble me. And these were initial days. Now I have become thick-skinned. But those days I was very sensitive to these things. Plus I was from stock markets. So I had seen the mess that happens in stock markets and how people behave differently. Those who yesterday called you to their home for a dinner, tomorrow they will send a notice to your office that you are the reason for all the losses. So all the time we have to defend ourselves in this market. So I told Bhagavan, I am not interested in your job anymore. You send me to these silly people. They ask for advice. You unnecessarily give unsolicited advice. And then they follow half of it. They don't. Maybe if they followed the whole of it, on an average, they would have made the profits that they needed to make. But they followed half the advice. They did not follow now. Naturally, they have not made any money. And whatever they followed, they made loss and so on. So I told him that you please don't get me that. I was feeling very hurt and angry. Why should it happen? Then he told me, see, if ever you feel any negativity in you, whether it's hurt, whether it's insult, whether it is anger, it's because of your ego and not because of them. This is the first advice he gave me on the spiritual path. Anytime you feel bad, negative, hurt, angry, frustrated, upset, yes, situations have turned bad, I understand that, but you are experiencing it because of your ego, he said. It was like insult to injury for me. Already I am angry and feeling insulted, and you tell all because of your ego that you are suffering. You feel even more horrible. You said, here I have landed. He said, suppose you throw a ball. If there is a wall, the ball will bounce back. If there is no wall, it will just pass through. Your ego is that wall. When people hurl abuses at you, they say bad things about you, they tell you horrible things, you are getting hurt because that ego wall is standing there. That's why things are bouncing back. If you had no ego, their words would have just passed through from this year to that year and out. They would have never remained in you. You wouldn't have bothered. No, he expected this standard of quality of your character right in the beginning of the mission. I was not ready for it. I did not know. We all know ego is a bad thing. We should not have ego. All this we have heard in Prashanti Nilayam also, hundreds of discourses. But when it really hits you practically, that's when you realize that you have ego. Whatever you say, I'm a very humble devotee, I'm an obedient student, I'm a nice human being. None of these stand the test. Suddenly all the devil comes out. And you see the ugly side of yourself. And then Bhagavan showed me the mirror. Satya Darpan, this is. Showed me the mirror of truth, saying that you seem to say you are humble, you are surrendered, you have nothing of your own, you are only here for me. But see, you are getting hurt and frustrated. So on purpose, he sent me to such a home, so that they do such a thing to me and then he can teach me a lesson. And the lesson was to get rid of that ego also, which will come from the blame of people. And my problem was that I did not do it, so why am I getting blamed? He said, that's precisely the reason why you should not accept the blame, he said, because you know that you did not do it. It is I who gave the advice. You did not give the advice. Then why are you bothered? Because they are bothering me. Don't get bothered, he said. Don't get bothered. This is a practical example of this. You are not the doer, so you are not the enjoyer of consequences. And in this case, I knew I am not the doer because the words are not mine. Voice may be mine. The words were not mine. I knew it is Bhagavan who has given instruction. Whatever happens, the mess after that, it is Bhagavan's problem, not my problem. But because they were catching me and my collar and trying to drag me into a controversy, my ego and my insecurities, showed up. Knowing fully well that Bhagavan is in charge and he will manage this also as he manages everything. But for that moment, you are shaken. Then I said, this is not going to be good. And he says, and you know that you have not said it, you know in your heart that it is not because of you, then why are you accepting that blame? Okay, they'll write for some days, they'll threaten you, whatever comes, we'll deal with it. Similarly, when things went right, that time I was very humble. No, Gulbarga campus came up, they said, how could you manage this? All that is Bhagavan's wish and grace. There we happily let go of the credit. There I did not go around telling, why did you not praise me? Why mala was not put on me? Why I was not given a shield and a medal? That time I did not ask. I was very happy to sit in the third row and disappear into the oblivion. Not even wanting to be known that I am even involved in this. That is how we operated, right? Incognito for 3-4 years. Till it became a necessity to be in the forefront. Till then I was always quietly behind. So the idea was that while praise were happening, it was very easy for me to hide behind the chair and say I am nobody. But when blame happened, you are all restless and angry. In other context, it is the opposite. When the praise happens, they want to be in the front. And when blame happens, they disappear behind. But I was the other way around, because we are humble spiritual people, right? We are supposed to give up the credit, but not able to give up the debit, not able to give up the blames. So I have learned these lessons quite hard, in a very hard way. Bhagavan taught me this. Lot of good things happened, but he saw to that every now and then something did not go right. When some things did not go right, that is when he really tested my spiritual stamina. When something went right, he was not bothered, because he knew I don't have that desire for recognition and credits. So he is not going to bother about it. That part I had got it right. What I could not get it right is the other side of it, which is not to accept blame also for things when they go wrong. That I could not take it. I was not ready for it. So whenever things went wrong, I either blamed myself, felt very guilty, lived in that negativity, or I blamed somebody around me who was the reason why things went wrong, despite our best advice to them. So this seesaw of praise and blame, one day up, one day down, this is horrible. It does not allow you to live in peace at all. It does not allow you to live in peace at all. So what does this Jnani do? He has accepted this part that it is not because of him. It has happened through the Jnani, but not because of the Jnani. So whatever comes out of it, as a praise or blame, both do not accrue to him. In our case, either we accrue the praise and reject the blame, or accrue the blame and reject the praise. That is what we are doing. But that is also ego, that is also ignorance only. You may look like a more humble, nice, sweet, surrendered devotee because all the praise you are passing on to the God, and blame you are keeping to yourself and cursing yourself. It sounds good, like Swami Vivekananda said. He was also blamed heavily after his guru's demise, because he went to the Chicago conference and spoke and became very popular and famous. When he returned, everybody received him with great pomp and honor. So overnight he shot to fame, and people became his followers and devotees. So his other guru bhratas, those co-mendicant brothers were there. They felt that Swami Vivekananda, instead of promoting Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa name, he is doing self-promotion everywhere. He doesn't even mention the name of his guru. He only is talking about himself. So they blamed him for all such things. He had told at that point in time that whatever good has happened because of me, or whatever good that people accrue to me, it's because of my guru, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and whatever wrong has happened, that is because of my shortcomings. This statement he makes, not to pacify people, but as the matter of truth, the truth that he speaks. So I went through this whole episode also. People started praising Bhagavan for all things which went right. When things didn't go right, they said, this fellow would have interfered with Bhagavan's will. He would have minced the words. He would have not communicated correctly. He would have added his 2 cents of advice to us. That is why all these things went wrong. But I knew in my heart of heart, I have not done any of these things. But how do I go and convince? How do I go and convince? Then I read this Vivekananda story, and then I thought, yes, I should take this approach. All that good happens is because of Bhagavan. All that which goes wrong is because of me. But it didn't make my situation any better. It was a fake way of consoling myself to soothe my nerves. But it did not really help, because here also there was ego of one kind, right? What was the ego? Good ones you are passing on to your guru, and bad ones you are accepting and suffering. And I knew I have not done it, then why should I suffer? But I had to suffer through that, because I could not get over this whole idea of some doership somewhere. So even an iota of doership will trouble you. The only way you can survive is when you have absolutely zero doership. That is when you can survive. Even this idea that trying to look very nice and sweet and humble, all the good is because of my guru, all bad is because of me. You might look very good in front of people's eyes. Oh, what a humble, nice fellow. But that is also ego of some sorts. You accept none. Either accept both or accept none. That is how it is. Either accept divine is the doer and I am divine, so yes, I am the doer and enjoyer. That is one way. Mahato mahiyanasya. Other way is, I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer, so therefore neither praise nor blame come to me. Anoraniyan, Bhagavan used to say these 2 ways. He used to give example of Hanuman. How would he get out of the chain that he was bound with? He said either he grows, becomes so big that the chains break. Or he becomes so small that the chains become loose, and they tried to bind him in Ravana's court. So he said there are only 2 ways Hanuman can escape that. One, he grows so big that all the chains break and he is free. Or he becomes so small that there is no need, the chains cannot bind him, he can get out through any of those loops and disappear. So either become so humble saying, reject everything. I neither praise I want, nor I want the blame. I am not the doer, so therefore I am not the enjoyer. That is to reduce your ego to that small level like Hanuman's Anoraniya and Rupa, where he becomes the smallest of the smallest and disappears. Or become biggest of the big. I am the divine. Yes, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, but as the divine, not as the body and the mind, and break free. Between the two, choose one. You can't have half of it this way, half of it that way. Yes, good things, God is the reason. Bad thing, I am the reason. I am useless, I am no good, I am no need. Both ways you get rid of it. But I have struggled through this. Not for a day, months, but years I have struggled with this idea of not being able to not blame myself for things that go wrong. Not wanting praise was easy for me. But not wanting the blame was very difficult for me. Because somewhere I always felt guilty for not being able to execute or whatever happened. Not because of me. But somebody did it and didn't turn out to be. And some people asked me. And many times when I was traveling also people asked me, you keep saying Bhagwan is telling you everything. Yes, we see a lot of success happening. But there are some things that did not happen as you mentioned. Was it Bhagwan or was it you? That's it. If somebody says that sentence, that will enter my heart, it will pierce it like a sword and stay there. And I'll keep thinking through the trip, through this thing, what have I done? Have I done something wrong? Because of me, this is happening. People will lose faith. Mission will not work. So many children will go hungry. They will not have education. Because of my mistakes, so many poor people will not get what they deserve. It's all kinds of ideas will enter your head. And you blame yourself and have sleepless nights, can't eat and enjoy food, always putting your head down. Every day is a burden and drag. Because somebody commented that things didn't happen as you said. Why? And you have no answers for that. Then you suffer. So I have gone through all these shlokas and as a living experience. That's why I can explain it much better than anybody else who has never even gone through it. Theoretically they'll explain, but practically I'm explaining. That while I was in the bank, there was one way of looking at doership. You wanted credit, otherwise you will not get your promotion. You have to send mails to your bosses saying, I did this, I did that, this was done, that much achieved, this much target completed, your performance reviews. You have to be very, very vocal and loud about yourself. And try to hide all the which went wrong, which is precisely what they will pick out because they don't want to promote you and give you a salary increment. They want you to put it into tier 2 or not tier 1 performer. Then you want to highlight your achievements and hide your mistakes. That's the way I learned in the bank you have to survive. When I came here, it was just the opposite. Highlight all the negative I have done and curse myself and sit and cry. And all the good things pass it on to Bhagwan and His grace. That also was a suffering of some sort. Finally, I realized both are not right. Both are not right. That I realized quite late actually. It took several years. So Bhagwan had told me in 2011 itself, don't take anything to your heart, praise and blame. But I did not take the praise to my heart, but took the blame to my heart and suffered. So this both are egos only. So this man, mano na avamanata, na mano, neither praise nor blame. Both do not occur to this person, both do not touch his heart. He is, because mind is empty. Whatever comes through God passes on, that's it. Then mind is empty again. And he knows very well he is not the doer. Like I knew very well I am not the one who is telling things. It is Bhagwan who is telling, and if things happen or don't happen, it is his problem, not mine. But I could not learn it quickly. It took some time for me to accept it. At least I had a kind of an interaction with which I could tell, oh, God is telling me, so I am doing. But those who do not have a God telling them what is their fate, they have to feel inspired from inside, that's all. When they are inspired from inside and they think, speak and do, they are free from all the blame and praise. When they are not inspired, they are thinking from their head, they will suffer. Both is suffering. Excitement is also suffering and depression is also suffering. Both ways they will suffer. So you have to decide to accept both or reject both. In my opinion, accepting both requires you to become a jnani and become a, that mahato mahiyan, which takes time. Best is reject both to begin with. Why reject both? Who am I after all? An instrument of God. What blame can a scissors take when the tailor has cut it all wrong? What blame can a scalpel take when the surgeon has cut it all wrong? What blame can an instrument take when the player has played it all wrong? So I reject both. That is the first step. But eventually you will reach a stage that you feel the jnana, you say, yes, I accept both, but both don't affect me. But that is a difficult step. First step is this. Be an instrument, that is the easier way. And then you be the doer, but as the divine, not as the body and the mind. This is a progress which will take time. It is not as straight and easy. 18.25 and 168. It says, Kritam dehena karmedam na maya shuddha rupina iti chintanurodhi yaha kurvannapi karoti na. Which means, Kritam dehena karma idam na maya shuddha rupina. All these actions that are being performed is by the body, not by me, who is the shuddha rupa, who is pure. Because actions do bring some impurities. Some things are right, some things are wrong. Like you see Jain monks are there, they're so careful. They put a mask on their face, and even they're walking, they sweep the road with a broom so that they don't even accidentally step on some insects or don't breathe in an insect or something and kill them. They're so careful. They want their actions to be absolutely pure. That's why sannyasis and brahmacharis are not allowed to light fire, kitchen fire. Because when you light kitchen fire, some insects will be burnt. When you are cooking, you'll bring vegetables from fields, you have put pesticides or something. So many insects have died in the process. All the blame comes to the grihastha who is cooking, lighting fire. Sannyasi's life was whatever falls from the sky, like the fruits that have been eaten by the birds and have ripened and fell, they eat that. They don't want to even trouble anyone. And drink from the flowing water. They don't want to drink from stagnated or stored water. Why? Because there are germs in that, or whatever you call it, microorganisms who die when you drink. In flowing water, it is less. So they lived a very pure life. Brahmachari's problem is, the student life is, you don't light the fire and take the blame for it. Let the grihastha take the blame and you take it as a dana. So doership is not yours, that you cooked and you ate. No. Somebody cooked, so what is your problem? You took it as a charity. That was the idea. So brahmacharis and sannyasis were not allowed to light kitchen fire. They were supposed to beg and eat or take what comes from the nature. Whereas grihasthas have a lot of life which is full of sins. That's why grihasthas have to keep doing pariharas all the time. Why? Because when they're cooking, they're killing things. Some way, if you're eating a non-vegetarian food, there is straight away killing. There is absolutely, that is sinful. But even if you're cooking a vegetarian food for that matter, when you light fire, some insects, some small things die. When you clean things, you kill some insects. So this is a part of life of grihastha. Poor grihastha cannot escape that. Though he is supposed to do a lot of pujas and pariharas. As grihasthas, you have to conduct a lot of rituals and such things to get rid of these sins that accrue. But for a jnani, he says, I am not the doer. Where are you trying to, latch it all onto me? Pin it to me? I am not the doer. So why are you telling why I ate vegetarian, non-vegetarian? I don't even know. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't eat anybody, he says. Like, are you breathing? If I ask you now, if you were not conscious of it, you were not the one who was breathing. Breathing was happening. Your body was breathing. Your body was breathing. When you say, I am breathing, means there should be conscious involvement in that action, isn't it? But if you are not consciously involved, who was breathing? Body was breathing. Who is digesting your food? I am digesting my food. No, don't lie. Your body is digesting the food. Your body is breathing. This is how they think of all the action. My body is singing. My body is walking. My body is talking. My body is working. I am not working. They're very clear. Like, I am not breathing. My body is breathing. But body is you only. No, I am not the body. I am very clear. I am not the body. So don't attach the two. It's not real. Like, when you are unconsciously breathing, you are not breathing. Your body is breathing. It's doing its own thing as per the natural laws. Likewise, when you even engage in action, run a business, teach a student, sing a song, operate on a patient, my body is doing its own thing. I am not doing. That clarity is there in these people. But you only studied medicine, you only became a surgeon. Now my body went to the college, my mind studied medicine. Then what are you? I am none of these. I am the witness consciousness which is unaffected by both. That clarity is very, very strongly embedded in the Shuddha Rupina. I am pure. Actions don't bind me. No impurity happens to me. So he says, all the actions done are by the body. I am not the doer. And I am pure consciousness which is unaffected by any of these things. Then, iti chintanurodhi yaha kurvannapi karoti na. This kind of person, chintanurodhi, means the one who has caused the cessation of all the thoughts in him. What are the thoughts? I am doing now, now I am enjoying. I am doing now, I am not enjoying. Or I am not doing and enjoying. I am not doing, I am not enjoying. All combinations are destroyed. Why? Because he does not think at all. It doesn't mean that he is incapable of thinking. He does not need to think. His life is an inspired life. God thinks for him. It happens through this body and mind. That's it. He remains unaffected. So such a Chintanurodhi, the one who does not allow any thought or worries or ideas to happen in the head, kurvannapi karotina. Even though he is performing action, he is not performing actions. Why? Because actions are happening through him. Like the robotic surgery, I give example now. I've got a new nice example to quote. The robotic arm seems to be doing everything, cutting the skin. Because if you see in the screen, what do you see? You see that the arm went inside. It has got some probes. It has got an instrument. Now it just cuts the skin or pericardium. Now it's suturing it. But who is doing it actually? Here, the surgeon is sitting with those joysticks and he is controlling all those instruments. If somebody does not see the surgeon, they won't know. They will think the robot is doing its own thing. So it's actually not called robotic surgery. It's called robotic assisted surgery. Because robot is assisting the surgeon to do the surgery. So that is the idea. Now you can't go and blame the robot tomorrow. How come this surgery goofed it all up? Now we will file a case on this robot. Robot said, I didn't do anything. I was just there. This surgeon was sitting behind the wall. He is the one. He was half drunk when he came to the surgery and he was using one thing for the other. He destroyed at the surgery. A lot of doctors are there. Unless they take one peg, they don't enter the theatre at all. It's a huge nonsense. It's a huge trouble in the medical field. They are addicted. And only then they feel energized, then they do. But I feel in that state of delirium or whatever, alternated, whatever they call it, altered state, how will you perform a surgery? But they are like that. For them it is necessity. Many singers are like that. Unless they take one peg, they can't sing one sa. Nothing comes out of them. Many crazy people have habits like this. What do you do? But this guy, the one who is Jnani, he says, even though work is happening through my body, I am pure consciousness, I am not touched by any of it. And even though I seem to be doing all that is being done, yet I am not doing anything because my mind is empty. Robot does not have its mind to do things. The moment your mind gets involved in the action, you become the doer. If the mind is not involved in the action, it is happening like breathing is happening spontaneously, you are not the doer. The moment your mind gets involved, says, let me breathe slowly, you are doer now. That is the whole subtle difference between the doership and non-doership. Body will still be engaged, mind is not involved. Mind means your thought of doership is not existent in that action. Either you think you are the instrument or you think you are the divine. In between you cannot think. Think of like yourself like the robotic instrument. It has no mind of its own, but it has a body which is doing things. So also you are free from the blame game. Or you become the surgeon and say, yes, I take the responsibility for it because I am the divine. And divine is the real doer. That also is okay. But initially reaching that state of experiencing that divinity and saying, I am the divine who is... Somebody was for the sake of arguing. He says, Swamiji, you are saying all these things. But Ashtavakra is telling, you are the divine. I told, yes, but do you realize it? Why are you going on telling people, you be an instrument, try to get over your ego and doership? Ashtavakra is straight away saying, you are divine, then why are you telling contradictory things? I looked at him and said, do you even understand that you are divine? There is a path and there is a process that has to be followed, right? Ashtavakra says you are divine. How many of us believed and became divine next day? None of us. So there is a process. Yes, this is a lofty ideal. This is a beautiful goal to achieve. But have you achieved the goal by reading the book? No. So what is the process? You ask me, what is the process? How do I reach that stage? Step by step by step. I to we to he. That is the step by step. From I to he, you cannot jump. It's very difficult. So you go from I to we, do social service, do kindness, do charity, do generosity. Don't feel the doership. Become an instrument of the divine. Have no ego and attachment to whatever is. All these steps you follow, then you will reach a state of purity. In that state you will be divine. But you are already pure. No, Swami, why are you telling? I told, but you realize this at all? If you don't realize this is theory. Why are you even repeating it? It doesn't make any sense. Don't simply read Ashtavakra Gita and have your own understanding of how it is. Simply don't quote in front of me. I know more than you from that point of view. quoting from here and there, you're already divine, why are you repeating this? I told them, why are you even reading Ashtavakra? Throw it into the garbage bin. You're already divine, right? You don't need one. But you are not like that. Those people, they are here, but they will talk of there. That's not right, I tell them. You become that, and then you have every authority to say whatever you want. But if you don't become that, don't come and bother me like this. So like all the actions that are happening through the body spontaneously, we don't feel the doership in it. So we are not bothered. But the moment we try to control the body and its actions, then we feel the doership, and accordingly we feel the effort and burden in it. So that is the idea. And a beautiful shloka comes in Bhagavad Gita, which says similar idea. Yoga yugto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapina lipyate, it says. The one who is established in yoga, yoga yuktaha, vishuddhatma, who is pure, shuddha rupena, he says here, pure there. Vijitatma, who has conquered his lower self of instincts and desires and doerships. Jitendriyaha, all the senses are under his control. What is such a person? Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. He sees the same self in all the beings. Kurvan nampila lipyate. Even though he does, he is not bound by doing. That is the definition from the Bhagavad Gita of the same tone. So I thought I'll just bring it to your attention that such people do exist. The next shloka is on page number 170, 18.26. Beautiful shloka. It says, Atatvadiva kurute na bhaved api balishaha jivan muktah sukhi shriman sansarnapi shobhate. A beautiful word, he says, Atatvadi, he says, first word. Atatvadi. I am not that. Tatvadi means I am that. Remember, Tattvamasi is one of the Mahavakyas, that I am that. Tat means that. How similar Sanskrit and English? TAT is Tat, THAT is that. So all these have some commonality, all these original languages. So Tatvadi means the one who says, I am not that. What is not? I am body and the mind basically. I am not the doer, he is saying. Atatvadi. Kurute na bhavedapi balisha. Even though he does things, he does not become childish. See, children are also like that, very clever. When they break a thing, what do they come and tell you? The thing broke, they tell you. How did this, you come home from the office and the children have made a mess of the house. You ask, what happened? He says, that vase fell and broke. Oh, the vase had legs, hands to jump off the shelf and break itself. Who broke it? No, it broke. They are atatvadis. They don't associate themselves with the action. I am not the doer. The vase is the doer, vase falls and dies. Mother knows, he is lying. One of them have done it. But nobody will accept the blame of doing it. Why? Because they distance themselves from the action, says, we are not the doers. Action is done. Vase broke. Nobody went and broke it. Yes, but you were involved, right? You were playing cricket in the house, the ball went and hit the vase and that's how it fell, right? They won't accept that. Even if they accept, the ball broke the vase, they will tell. But how did the ball reach there to break the vase? That fellow hit it with the bat. Now how did that fellow hit it the ball? Because you bowled to him in the first place, right? But you will distance yourself from the action. That's why he says, even though they distance themselves from the action like children do, it broke. They will never accept I broke it. Because they know the consequences. But not the consequence. Like I said, when small children are there, suppose their name is Ram. How you tell Ram, come here, Ram, sit here, Ram, eat this, Ram, go to sleep, like that we say. They also address themselves as Ram only. They'll come to the father and tell, Appa, Ram wants to sleep. Or Amma, Ram wants to eat. They are addressing themselves as a third person. This is a common habit of all children across the world, you see. Why? They are atatvadis. They don't identify themselves with the body. They identify themselves as a person other than the body because everybody is identifying them with the name. They also identify themselves with a name. They don't call I want to sleep. They say Ram wants to sleep. Or Ram is hungry. Ram wants to eat. This is how atatvadis live in this world. But yet they are not childish. Balishaha. Childish means ignorantly child says this. Child is not saying with the knowledge that he is not the doer, the vase broke itself, is a part of the great bigger divine plan. No, he is simply escaping the consequences by saying, I am not the doer. But Jnani also says the same thing, I am not the doer, but does it with wisdom of non-doership. So the shloka is beautiful. It says, Atatvadi iva kurute na bhavedapi balisha. Though they do the same way like the children behave, by dissociating them from the action, but they are not children. Children do it because ignorantly or on purpose to escape the consequences, they distance themselves from the actions. Whereas the Jnani also distances from the action and says, I am not the doer, but with the wisdom of non-doership. That is the beauty of this shloka. And it says, Jivan Mukta Sukhi, the one who is free, Jivan Muktaha, the one who is free in life, not bound by doership and enjoyership, Sukhi, he is ever happy. Shriman Sansaranapi Shobhate, such a Shriman, such a great one, Sansaranapi, even though he is engaged in the world, seemingly doing all the actions, seemingly engaged in all enjoyments or sorrows, whichever way, still Shobhate. Shobhate means he is still unaffected, pure and radiant. He is beautiful, his life is beautiful. Why it's beautiful? Because unaffected by any of these things. And he simply distances himself. I am not the doer. But you only were there driving the car. Yes, body was driving the car. Mind was watching over the road. I was not body, not the mind. They're very clear. So something goes wrong also, they're very clear. Not because of me. Something goes right also, they're very clear. Not because of me. That beauty is the life of a Jnani who is ever free. So would things go wrong because of him? No. Things will go wrong because they were supposed to go wrong. That's it. Will things go right because of him? No. Things will go right because that is how they were supposed to be. So what was his role? Simply executing it. Simply following the command of the divine. But you are yourself divine? Yes. So let me see. When I feel I am the divine, I am only the doer and enjoyer. When I am still feeling I am an instrument, divine is instrument, using me as an instrument. That's all is their approach to life. And that is why this word is beautiful, called atatvadi. They do not associate, identify themselves with the doers of the action. And that is why they can remain ever free. This whole idea is so beautiful that the Jnanis, many times you go back to Jnani and ask them, how did you do this amazing work? And they are at a loss to explain, like children are at a loss to explain things. They don't know how it happened. So when people come and tell me, I tell them, I don't know. God does everything. No, don't be modest. Tell us what is your secret recipe to leadership and success. I told, I have no recipe. You just flow. You just flow. Whatever comes your way for that day, you do give it your very best. Be available to God in body, mind and soul. Whatever happens, happens. That's it. You can't take praise for it. You can't take blame for it. Both are not allowed in the spiritual path. But when these big leaders are coming, all of them, they also have built huge businesses. And they know they have built these businesses despite the profitability component where people are willing to give money because they're going to make money at the end. Despite that, they struggle as leaders. And you are here giving everything free, no income, nothing. And you have no fear, you have no worry, you have no tension. Another other day, one of the leaders came and he wanted to speak to me a little privately. So I asked everybody to leave. And he told me, Swamiji, you don't get tension? He asking me. I said, why are you asking? No, such a huge institution. So much money is required. How do you do this? He says, in my company, he's a $1 billion company, he says, but the moment salary day comes, my heart is beating lub-dub in my chest. Until I'm cleared all my dues, I cannot sleep. This is my monthly routine, monthly ritual, monthly torture for me. I said, I also go through the same motions. Every organization goes through this, but I don't lose my sleep and peace. No, how you manage to do this? I told, I don't do it, therefore I do not have to worry about managing it. God does it. Though they are very stunned by these answers. They feel, how? They ask. I say, that is how it works. Yeah, some days are good days for us also, some days are bad days for us also, like for anybody. The world is full of duality. Then how do you deal with it? I told, I don't deal with it at all. I leave it to God to deal with it. Then what is your role? If God says, do this, I do this. If God says, don't do this, I don't do this. That's about it. That's all is my role. I'm an actor on the stage. I'm not the director. Director tells, okay, stand in this corner. Now this is your dialogue. Say it this way. I'll just say it this way, done, and stand again. And then he says, no, now you are a different role. You have to come in this scene and exit at this. Fine, we'll just follow the instructions. So they simply follow the instructions. They don't have a mind of their own to think, decide, and then worry about it. Whereas these leaders who are coming, though they are very great because they have great leadership values and qualities, otherwise they won't build such huge organizations. But what is lacking? The spiritual depth. to handle those ups and downs of businesses. That drives them crazy. That makes them feel so unnerved. So that is what they're asking, how do you manage? Because they do see that this charity is far more challenging than building $1 billion business, which has promises at the end of giving returns to the stakeholders. There's no return here. The only return is satisfaction. You feel good that this has happened, or your devotion to a cause that makes you do things. Otherwise, what is there for you to feel anything here? Nothing. So they are very, very, very dumbfounded when they see all this and they hear. Because we live inside this place, we don't realize how the magnitude of the spiritual depth of this place. But people who come from outside, when they see, they are very, very, in a way, overwhelmed by what is happening. But it's only because of this spiritual depth that we are surviving. If this spiritual depth was not there, charities cannot be run. Organizations may still be run because there are other people who will pitch in whenever required, because everybody has money to make there. Some selfish gains are to be made. So people will show interest. Here you have to be helpless, you have to let go and it never comes back to you. Then how do you give it away? Unless you are spiritual, you won't give it away. So nobody will run charity organizations like ours unless they have the real spiritual depth, not some shallow spirituality. Shallow spirituality won't last. In one big jolt or a setback, everything will collapse. Only deep spirituality will allow you to withstand all the strikes and hammers and all that. Because you are very, very deep, your foundations are very deep, so it won't fall. When wind blows or storms come, it won't fall. Because your foundation of spirituality and understanding of such concepts of non-doership and non-enjoyership is very, very, very strong. That is why it doesn't affect. So I say all the time, only yogis can run this place, only jnanis can run this place. A jnani only can replace a jnani. No, not anybody else. So it is important that all of us turn into jnanis, so that for the sake of doing what needs to be done in the right way, we have to turn into jnanis. Ajnanis will ruin the broth because they don't know fully. They are half capable or incapable or not fully done. Now the next sloka is on 18.27, 177 page, which says, Nana vichara sushranto dhiro vishranti magataha na kalpate na janati na shrunoti na pashyati. It says, Nana vichara sushranto. Vichara means thoughts. Nana means of different kinds. Sushranto, who has heard all of this and exhausted all of it. There is nothing left in him. He is absolutely pleased. Sushranta, Vishranta, all these means peace, rest. So restful he is in his mind. Why? Because he has heard all the opinions, seen the world, been there, done that. He is overcome everything. Now his head is free of all the thinking and calculating and analyzing and deciding and judging and all that. Sushranta he has become. After having gone through all this, his head has become free. Dhiraha, he is that one wise, discriminating one. Vishranti magataha, he becomes restful. Only when your mind is running at the RPM of 100 thoughts a minute, that is when you are restless. When your mind has no thought, that is when you attain peace. Simple example is when you go to sleep. Till you are thinking something, you don't get sleep. When all the thoughts disappear, or at least they are settled, that's when sleep happens. And sleep is not something you decide to do. Sleep happens to you. Sleep must happen to you effortlessly. Only then it is sleep. If you push a pill and then try to sleep, that's not real sleep. You're dumbing down the system. But even then, the only way you sleep is when your thoughts disappear. Rest happens when thought disappears. So these people's minds are always at rest. Why? Because there are no thoughts. They're absolutely calm, as if in deep sleep. But of course, awake and aware of everything. But the restfulness of their being is like the rest that you get in deep sleep. When you wake up from a deep sleep, you were very refreshed. You say, oh, how long did I sleep? You say 7 hours. No, I felt it was just 7 minutes. Because time disappears in this idea of when thoughts disappear, time disappears. That's why people can sit in front of a statue and admire it for hours and not even realize how much time has passed. Because their thoughts have disappeared. So when thoughts disappear, you attain rest. You attain peace. So these people who have exhausted all kinds of thoughts from their head, and they have attained that absolute peace and rest of mind, Na kalpate. How do they work or exist? Na kalpate. They do not imagine, they do not dream. Na janati. Nor do they know what is going on. It is happening. They are not even aware of what is happening. Na shrunoti. They are hearing but they are not hearing. Na pashyati. They are seeing but they are not seeing. Everything is happening through them. At the end of the day, you ask them to recall everything that they have said, spoken, heard, seen. They can't recall. Because they were never there in the first place to even experience all these things. Then who was experiencing? Body was experiencing, mind was experiencing. Do you have any recollection, memory of it? Maybe some faint ones. That's why I say when you give a speech and you don't remember what you have spoken, in all good sanity you have spoken, right? It means you are not the speaker. You don't remember a thing. It's because somebody else came, took over the whole thing, spoke through you, and once it was done, speech ended. For me, it works like that. I do not come prepared. I do read shlokas and come because I need to know what shlokas are coming. But I don't come prepared this way that, okay, this, after that, this, write a script. No, nothing. You come here, whatever the thought which is most necessary, appropriate for the audience, that will start. It is like you switch on the button, the machine starts working, and at some point in time, automatically the button is switched off and all words, thoughts, emotions disappear. Just disappear. I can't force them back. I can't even scrounge them back saying, no, I want to speak another extra sentence. It won't come. It is such an effort to speak another sentence once that process is over. So Bhagavan had told me in the beginning, your only preparation is not to prepare. If you come prepared, then you will interfere with my thoughts and ideas. You just come empty-headed. Imagine even if you have to give a small presentation to a group of audience, you will prepare. Otherwise, you will look like a fool. And they'll ask you questions and you have no answers and you don't prepare and execute it well or express well, you will be making a fool of yourself. So you will go prepared. And if it's an examination or a viva or something, imagine how much preparation is required. For me, whatever be the audience, whether the presidents of the country, the prime ministers, or the ordinary folk and small children, my only requirement is don't go prepared. I read up a little bit because I must have some basic knowledge of etiquettes that need to be followed. There are protocols. I cannot just go and say, I didn't know you are the prime minister, so I just didn't stand up. That can't happen, right? So to that extent, yes, some preparation from that extent that, yes, these are the protocols. I must be seated here. They will be seated here. He'll speak first. I'll speak second. Whatever is there, that much I know. Daily I read whatever is the program. And if I find anything missing or not right, I do point it out and they correct it. But beyond that, I don't think. So what are you going to speak this evening when this award happens and after this happens? I don't know. Till it happens, I do not know. When it happens, also I do not know. And after it happened also, I do not know. Very few things I remember from things. Otherwise, my head will be clogged with so many thoughts and ideas and emotions and decisions. Every second, there is a decision to be made. Every day, there is a decision to be made. I was reading about, recently, when Mr. Piyush, who passed away, he was Ogilvy and Mather's chief, head. That person was the marketing man of India, they call him. All the wonderful ads and everything. So I was simply reading about such marketing agencies, what they do. No, they'll take one campaign. They spend months or weeks to decide whether this is the logo, that is the logo, this is the shade or that is the shade, this is the content, that is the content. And tens of them will sit in a boardroom or an office and keep staring at that logo to come up with all ideas and perspectives. So much time they spend to make every decision. And here, they send me, I said, this is not right, that's it, that is right, finish. Why? Because I just know it from inside. The moment I don't know it, I can feel the effort and burden. Then I tell them, I cannot tell you, you wait. No, Swamiji, it has to go immediately into the press, this, that. Don't pressurize me, it is not coming to me, that's it. If it comes to me, I will tell you. Otherwise, do as you please. Then sometimes they wait for it to come to me. Sometimes when there is no time, they go ahead and do whatever they can. Both ways, I do not bother. Why these decisions are so fast? Why things are growing? See, one part is, of course, we work very hard. Constructions happen so fast. All the vendors are mobilized. Our people stay put day and night. That is one part of it. But all of this won't happen unless you make the decisions at the right time, every time. And every decision has to be right. Because wrong decision will lead to delays and maybe even destruction. So how do you make decisions on the go, every second, every moment, continuously? And every decision has to go right. Only when you don't make a decision, that's when decisions are made correctly. When you let the divine take over and decide. Everything flows like a smooth, oiled machine. Everything runs perfect. The moment you add doership to it and your involvement, things don't work. You feel the burden and effort, you feel the restlessness inside. But your mind is supposed to be at rest if you are a jnani. Even in the midst of all the actions and reactions, your mind should be at rest. That's all you should do. You should not involve yourself in anything emotionally. Only at the surface, not beyond that. That is why, because decisions are fast, so construction is fast. People are only seeing construction being fast and thinking they have some magical way of doing things. No. The reason why our construction is fast is because decisions are fast. And decisions are fast because we are not sitting and deciding in a room full of 10 people, each cook giving his own advice and then confusing everybody, and then there is a fight and debate, and there are stakes at the end. If things go wrong, whose neck will be on the block? None of this is working here. None of this happens here. That is why these people, the 10-year projects are compressed in 1 year. Because in 10 years, 5 years, you will take in decision making. Look at government projects, we see. One project they cannot execute. How much of back and forth. Imagine if jnanis are running the place. And jnanis are only executing. And jnanis are only the chief ministers and cabinet ministers and secretaries and under secretaries. And jnanis are only the bureaucracy. And jnanis are only the media. Whole world will run so smoothly. No wastage. No confusion. No conflicts. But not there, no? That is the reason why all the conflicts are. One jnani cannot deal with all things. Because this institution is full of such people. Not only from leadership, from the execution team also. If they are not jnani, at least they are good instruments. I said, no, either Anoraniyan or Mahato Mahiyan. Between the two is there. If your leader is Mahato Mahiyan, you at least be Anoraniyan. Have no ego. With that you can continue the work. That is why this is going so fast. There is no other real reason. Everything else is bound by time, place and situation. Construction is bound by that. Time, it needs that time. But why things happen? Because we decide very fast. And why do we decide very fast? Because we are not the doers and decision makers. It happens through us. And once it happens, everybody agrees. Nobody is raising red flags and unnecessarily causing conflict. There is no opposition party sitting here just to pull the ruling party down. And even if it is right, they won't allow it to happen. Why? Because that way the ruling party will get more popular. These silly ideas, selfish ideas don't exist here. That is the reason everything is happening at such a fast pace. Okay, that's all I think I can do for today. So this doership thing will continue for 1 or 2 more shlokas, maybe 3 shlokas or something. After that, we change the tone. But as I said, as much we will cover as possible. After some days, this also might not be possible. There might be other reasons why we can't continue morning classes and things like that. But I've thought that we will continue to discuss this over the coming year also, so that this thought keeps coming back to us and we don't forget it. It remains with us, and we constantly, if we live in that thought for too long, there's a good chance that we may get transformed. Because as you think, so you become. The more you think you are the jnani of the Ashtavakra Gita, the more you will behave and become like that. So hopefully with this continuous meditation, contemplation on this thought, there is a possibility of the transformation at the end. We also had these certificates which were given away to our own teachers. All of them are our students who have now become teachers and in charges of institutions. I know them when they were small boys and girls, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And now they are all in charges and responsible people. But most importantly, we are this idea of continuous improvement, right? We have those 5 C's of our culture. In that 5 C, there is, of course, concern, communication, collaboration, then cleanliness and continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is a Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, which says incremental continuous improvement is what makes things happen. Sudden one-day improvement do not work. Slowly, steadily you should improve. So this exercise of furthering their capabilities to teach better, especially in the modern times with the advent of AI and other teaching methodologies and tools which have to be used moderately and correctly. Overusage also can damage everything, and not using is also not correct. So all these workshops were conducted, and we had a good opportunity because all of them were here for the entire 90 days period. So they underwent a workshop for 60 days under the guidance of several teachers, mentors, educationists and academicians and pedagogical experts, subject experts. They've come and conducted these classes. I hope this is going to help them become better teachers and administrators, and again, pass this knowledge on to the next generation. Because teachers have to be really good. If teacher is good, students will be good. If teachers are not that great, students will not be that great. Plus, our institution has a specific challenge, a unique challenge, that most of our students come from very vulnerable and underprivileged communities, and even the previous education that they have had before joining here was not adequate and was not enough. They didn't learn much. So we have a huge challenge to get them up to the mark in the very beginning. That's why 6th, 7th and 8th classes, I never allowed them to attend this Ashtavakra or anything in the mornings, because they are yet to catch up and come to the same level as others. Since they come from small government schools and other small villages, most of them don't speak English. They don't understand most of the subjects. They take longer than. That is why we shifted to NIOS, because NIOS has exam only at the end of 8th standard. So 6th, 7th and 8th, 3 years they get to prepare themselves to write the public exam. That way their confidence is not lost when they're not doing well in every year's exam. They have 3 years to prepare well and and most of the students are doing well. They pick up good enough English. They pick up all the subjects. So a lot of innovations and ideas to improve the system has been undertaken, and educating and training our teachers is part of that as a continuous improvement. So that is why this program was conducted. I am very happy, and I want to congratulate all the participants. Of course, they have benefited, but more than that, the staff who work behind the scenes, from training and development department to Venkateshwarlu, who is in charge of the program, and to Meenakshi Biswal, who is an educationist herself. So all of them have put together this well-curated program, and we have learned. I believe I saw the feedback. I did see that there are areas of improvement, but I think slowly from this what we have learned, we will put it in the next training session and improve continuously. But you all have to be good teachers. As students, you have to be good teachers eventually, because without good teachers, we cannot build this country or the world. Where each teacher can influence thousands of students' minds. And each one of you becomes a teacher well balanced in both this academic as well as the spiritual knowledge. You can transform the minds of the children, and that will lead to the great transformation of the country. And one day, that concept of Vidya Nagari, where everybody is a Jnani, that will happen, and the whole world be a very happy and peaceful place. So for that, these are little steps that we are taking. So enjoy being a teacher. You must enjoy and appreciate the opportunity. Nothing matches the opportunity of molding another person's character. Everything else is secondary. Yes, you give life to somebody in the operation theatre, is very fulfilling, but even better fulfillment is to teach them how to live that life. And that fulfillment is that of the teachers. So I am very particular about our teachers, that they do really the right things and they continuously improve themselves. They learn. A teacher has to be a learner first. They should not shy away. They should not never think I know enough. No, something else you can learn, make it more interesting and engaging. So keep learning. That is the way of a teacher. And I hope that this will help improve the entire education system further. So again, blessings to all of them. There is a song that we'll sing now.
Now we'll be presenting a Vachana by Allama Prabhu, which speaks about the illusion of you and I vanishes when true knowledge dawns, realizing that both are one. The bliss that remains is offered to you, O Lord Guheshwara. This Vachana is set to Rag Bhairav or Maya Malavagola in Carnatic music.
ಭಾವವಾರಿಂದಾಯಿತು ಹೇಳ ನೀನಾನೆಂಬ ಭಾವವಾರಿಯುದಿಂದಾಯಿತು ಹೇಳ ನೀನಾನೆಂಬ ಭಾವವಾರಿಯಿಂದಾಯಿತು ಹೇಳ ನೀನೆಂಬುದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ನೀನೆಂಬುದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ಮಾಯಾಧೀನ ನೀನೆಂಬುದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ಮಾಯಾಧೀನ ನೀನಾನೆಂಬ ಭಾವವಾರಿಯಿಂದಾಯಿತು ಹೇಳ ನೀನನ್ನದೇ ನಾನನ್ನದೇ ಇಪ್ಪ ಸುಖವ ಭಿನ್ನವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಅರಿಯಬಲ್ಲದೆ ನೀನನ್ನದೇ ನಾನನ್ನದೇ ಇಪ್ಪ ಸುಖವ ಭಿನ್ನವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಅರಿಯಬಲ್ಲದೆ ಆ ಸುಖವು ನಿಮಗರ್ಪಿತ ಕಾಣ ಆ ಸುಖವು ನಿಮಗರ್ಪಿತ ಕಾಣ ಗುಹೇಶ್ವರ ಗುಹೇಶ್ವರ ನಿಮಗರ್ಪಿತ ಆ ನೀನನ್ನದೇ ನಾನನ್ನದೇ ಇಪ್ಪ ಸುಖವ ಭಿನ್ನವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಅರಿಯಬಲ್ಲರೆ ಆ ಸುಖವು ನಿಮಗರ್ಪಿತ सर्वसुगुणसिन्धवे सकलसुजनबन्धवे सर्वसुगुणसिन्धवे सकलसुजनबन्धवे गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् दीनदुःखितपोषकाय दानधर्मप्रेरकाय दीनदुःखितपोषकाय दानधर्मप्रेरकाय सर्वलोकहितरताय सर्वमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् वेदनादवर्धकाय विश्वशान्तिस्थापकाय वेदनादवर्धकाय विश्वशान्तिस्थापकाय ब्रह्मज्ञानबोधकाय दिव्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् सत्यसायिनः प्रियाय सत्यप्रेमविग्रहाय सत्यसायिनः प्रियाय सत्यप्रेमविग्रहाय नित्यशुद्धनिर्मलाय नित्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय दिव्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्तजना संरक्षक भक्तजना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रितकल्पलतिका आश्रितकल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धव ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातापिता गुरुदैवं मरियन्तयुनीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयुनीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी गो साई महादेव सद्गुरु साई महादेवा मंगलहारति अंदुको मंगलहारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। जय बोलो सद्गुरु श्री मधुसूदन साई जी की जय।